I'm pretty sure
I think we're live.
that we're live.
Live from Studio 6 something in some building.
In some
place
building.
because we're not about to dox ourselves.
That's okay. I tell plenty of people that I live in Utah and near Salt Lake.
Hey, I got the notification, so I think it's working.
I think we finally pretty much have it figured out.
Yeah.
All right. First person to comment on what color they want the lamp light to be, that's what I'm setting it at. Because this yellow is just kind of boring. So we got to check the comments as soon as you see.
We're waiting.
How's the sound? Sound okay? Here we go.
We are live.
We got all kinds of options.
Blue, purple. Oh, we already have a fight. Blue is the first.
Blue was first. All right.
First.
So let's go with a nice.
So close.
Let's go with a nice kind of a.
Yeah.
Just a. How about like a teal blue? Yeah, that looks kind of cool. Let's do that.
There we go.
All right. Let's make sure that the camera. Oh, the camera's not quite.
It's
There
just
we
a
go. And then.
How's it going, everybody? Is the sound okay?
Close
Volume
the
good?
door. We're ready. Oh, you know what? What about the lights?
Oh,
You said you were looking too orange. Well, I think the blue background helps us look a little less orange. But we can kind of. I usually like to go about right here.
That's the sweet spot.
And then maybe kind of a. Yeah, right there.
You excited about the revised player handbook coming up? That's
Oh.
from Shane in the chat.
So excited. I am so excited, and I was surprised actually by the poll that I put in Discord earlier this week that exactly 50% of people said they were undecided on whether they were going to use the rules or not, and I was like, no way. But I think that now of those who said they were either going to or not going to, the vast majority said they were going to.
Sure.
It was 43% were going to, and 7% said no. I have to believe that once it kind of takes root, and people start to, like it, hopefully, you know what I mean, and they like the changes, and it's okay, you know what, the balance is a little better, and hey, Marshall's got some new fun toys to play with, and the subclass is a little more viable or not as overpowered. Here's hoping. Let's do it. But I think it's difficult. Not everybody wants to be an early adopter.
Sure.
Right? And so you want to kind of wait and see how is this? Are people liking it? And, do I want to spend another $50-$60 on a new book?
Yeah.
Maybe I need to save my lunch money for a few months.
Sure. Well, and think about all the people who are in the middle of a campaign.
Yes.
And you definitely don't want to
Absolutely.
change rule sets you're level 12.
Yeah.
That would kind of suck.
And most D&D campaigns last, 1 to 2 years. Am I wrong there?
I mean, it feels about right, at least in my experience.
Depending on how often you play. So, yeah, for sure. But I think it will be a gradual adoption, but I have to believe that a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, the majority of people are going to play. I think that happens with every edition, right?
Sure.
People are oh, I don't want to move to 5e from 4e or whatever. Well, maybe that's not a good example because I don't think a lot of people loved 4e, but maybe leaving 3.5 and going to 4, people were I mean, I remember back when I was in junior high and 2nd edition came out, we were nah. Why would we change? This works great. We like what we're doing. There's all these resources. Why would I change that? Now, of course, my perspective is going to be very different than most people's, I think, because I eat, sleep, and drink D&D 5e and have been, for the last... Sorry, I'm going to close that so we're not constantly looking at ourselves.
It's just nature.
It's distracting. We're all narcissists. Yeah, exactly. yeah. So for the last 3.5 years now, almost 4 this summer, like 20 to 40 hours a week, I'm like thinking about D&D 5e.
Sure.
And
it's
like
your livelihood.
And diving in and picking it apart and trying to, whatever. And yeah, after 4 years, I'm like, I'm ready for something new. Like I'm excited to have a new toy to play with. And I think it'll probably, we were talking about this at lunch, I think it'll probably be good for the channel.
I think so.
I hope, anyways, that it'll kind of re-spark some interest for people who have kind of not been watching the videos lately and or not been playing D&D lately, but when something new comes along, they're ready to, hey, let's jump in. And I mentioned this, my agent has told me that he thinks it highly likely that we'll be able to get like some advanced copies.
Very cool.
Of the stuff, because like they did that for the Deck of Many Things. They sent me like this Deck of Many Things stuff early, and also the Planescape stuff.
Nice.
I got it like, I don't remember, it was maybe a month or 3 weeks or something like that before it went public.
That's really cool.
It was really cool. It didn't do a lot for me or for them for that matter, because I didn't really talk about it on my channel. Because there weren't a ton of player options that I used or wanted to use. I could probably turn that into content, though.
Probably. I mean, like, everything can be kind of packaged up to be content, but is it really, like, what's the value? You know what I mean? Like, especially to your channel.
Here's a good question that I'm going to pose to you guys. Because my platinum members are like, you guys are the cream of the crop. Because we've also been talking about this lately. It's like, do we ever like pivot? Ooh, for those of you in the corporate world, they just threw up in their mouths a little bit.
Or you're thinking of Friends, like me, because I have a messed up brain. Is pivot, because I only think in TV quotes. I'm like Abed from Community.
That's what makes you a great editor, because you've always got something to like pull from a movie or a TV show and like plug it into the video. I have done 166 so far, builds for D&D.
That's crazy.
Right? Plus a handful of Pathfinder and Baldur's Gate. I've sometimes I think like, should I mix it up a little bit, right? Should I do more than just builds? Should I do a tier ranking video? Tier ranking the subclasses or whatever, right? Or the Deck of Many Things comes out, and hey, let's dive into like the spells from the Deck of Many Things, right, and like do an analysis on them or something like that. I feel like that space is pretty saturated, frankly, in the D&D YouTube world. And the Dungeon Dudes do a fantastic job with that kind of stuff, and so does Treant Monk, and even like Ginny D and Will D&D Shorts, like they don't all necessarily do that, but they all seem to do kind of some of it. And I've created a very narrow niche for myself where it's like I just do this, and it's the only thing I do, and I enjoy it, and it kind of keeps my life simple, and it's frankly my favorite thing to do. It's my favorite thing about game, and I feel like I've kind of got the audience that they like that too. But yeah, I can't help but think sometimes, like, I wonder if that might be good for the channel, and or if existing viewers might be interested in that, or frankly, if you guys, and I would not be offended if this were the case, if people were like, yeah, you know what, no, just like stay in your lane, like like other people do that and they do a great job of it, and I don't need another like tier ranking the subclasses video, or a deep dive into every Unearthed Arcana playtest, or every new book that comes out, etc.
Sure. So the chat says tier rankings could be fun. I'd like to see stuff like that. Maybe feature analysis, not a whole subclass, but breaking down how individual features can interact with each other. And then we've got, that's a pretty saturated, but they're fun. Is that best for the channel? And then another person says it's definitely saturated, but I think you could pull a bit of interaction with those videos. And then Steven Saul, thanks for the hundo.
Hey, thanks, Steve.
Will you be switching over to the new rules as soon as they come out, or will you wait?
Good question.
So do you think you can do a creation bard build first?
Thanks for the feedback, and I'll definitely take it into consideration. The problem is, and what I expect might happen is if I were to, say, release a tier ranking video one week, meaning that I would not have time to do a character build, right? So this is the video for the week. I can see a lot of people being like, where's the weekly character build?
Yeah.
But maybe not, and it could be worth experimenting. So we'll have to maybe you and I brainstorm a little and go, okay, what, like, if we're gonna try this, like, what's the first thing that we do? Or maybe I make a poll.
Yeah.
And we get some ideas.
I think being community first is always a smart move.
As for Steven's question, I think I'm probably just gonna like switch, like, the day it drops, the day the new player's handbook is like live. I hope to have a video that is all of the most important differences between 5e and 5e. Between
5.5, 1,
between 2014 and 2024. There kind of like I did with Pathfinder, right? And it might be a two video series. And of course, this is assuming that I actually can get the new player's handbook before it goes live. That's my hope, and then from that point on, just start using the new player's handbook. Now, that's not to say that I am never again going to like pull stuff from other source books from 5e, because and this might turn into a longer conversation. Again, something that we've talked about, but like, I've been a little bit nervous about when a new edition of D&D, when it first felt like it was going to be a new edition.
Right.
I was like, cool, and that kind of makes me nervous because I have this big old backlog of videos that each get like a handful of views, right, some more than others. And that actually is an important part of my own sort of like revenue and livelihood, right? Is that backlog. And if a totally new edition were to drop and all of that stuff is obsolete, right, then I feel like, that's probably ultimately like bad for the channel.
Yeah, it just wipes out years of work there.
And so when they've kind of been continually pulling back more and more and more from a new edition to just, no, this is still 5e with just some updated rules.
Right.
Part of me's
5e enhanced.
Part of me's been like, that's boring. And part of me's been like, oh, good, like, it doesn't make my existing library obsolete. Although it's going to affect it, and some things won't work as well. So anyways, the plan would be to, start using the new player's handbook rules, but as long as there's not a conflict between what the new player's handbook says and any other existing book, whether it's Eberron or Ravnica or Fizzbands or whatever, like, as long as it's not conflicting with something that we've got in the player's handbook, then like I think it's fair game, and I think that's Wizards of the Coast intent, to not just like make obsolete all of these other things that they've been releasing over the last 10 years, right? So that's my plan. Will I do a creation bard first? Can I say Raffo? That's a Brandon Sanderson. That's a Brandon Sanderson. Watch and find out, not read and find out. Maybe, probably not. I think I probably got to do a Blade Singer.
There's got to be a Blade Singer.
Just because like that's sort of what the video that kind of put me on the map for a lot of people.
Yeah,
and was. And is still, to date, my most viewed D&D build video. Anyways, Baldur's Gate came out, and that shattered every record of every other video I'd ever done. But I think it's got to be a Blade Singer or a Monk, or maybe a Blade Singer Monk. But I don't know. And in case people are wondering, will I like go back to some of my more famous or popular videos and like update them? I think probably, if like there are substantial changes that it would merit an update. And I guess maybe I should say maybe there's not going to be enough to do a Blade Singer first, because maybe it's going to mostly be the same.
Sure.
But when you consider like weapon mastery stuff and like other things, it's like, ooh, but it would be even better now. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. So Basic Stupidity says, what subclass for Rogue do you expect to be replaced for the Soul Knife? They're planning on Arcane Trickster, Assassin, Swashbuckler, and Thief.
So you know what? I assumed that they would have 5. I assumed that they were just adding the Soul Knife. Am I wrong? Do we know for sure that they're going to nix one?
Good question.
If of those 4, if they were to nix one, Arcane Trickster, Thief, Assassin, and what was it? Swashbuckler?
Yep, Swashbuckler. Yep. Arcane Trickster's gotta go.
But it's kind of the best subclass. Well, I think my favorite is the Soul Knife. I don't know if it's necessarily mechanically the strongest. Or Assassin. I love Assassin just for the auto crit and just the what's the word? Like conceptualness of the Assassin I love. Yeah. Thief is too archetypal. Yeah, of those 4, and especially since Soul Knife is a little magic-y anyways.
Right.
And third casters are annoying because their spell slot progression is so dang slow. Maybe the Arcane Trickster, if they are in fact going to replace one. I thought that they were just going to add the Soul Knife.
Yeah, Shane in the chat says 4 subclasses for each class, no exception from what I hear.
Yeah, that's true. They have said that, huh? Well, yeah, my guess would be the Arcane Trickster, but if that happened, I think there would be huge outcry.
I mean, they say that it still works with 5e, right?
Yeah, so you can still play the Arcane Trickster. And they might just be like, we're not making enough substantial changes to the Arcane Trickster, so we're just going to leave it.
It's in the old book.
Yeah,
it could be.
And then, any new rogue features, like the way you can use your sneak attack dice differently, et cetera, are still going to apply. Yeah, I could see that. That would probably be my guess.
All right, we've got Barbell Boa. Are either of you excited about the NFL draft tonight? Do you have a team, a player you want them to pick?
So
it's time to find out about Colby.
You are more, yeah, and that like this is great. I used to be a huge Raiders fan, which is weird because I'm not a very typical Raiders fan.
You're like an anti-Raiders.
I lived in Anaheim, California, when I was very, very young, and at the time the Raiders were in LA, and so like I was just sort of default a fan of the Raiders.
Sure.
And then very shortly after, my first Super Bowl I ever remember watching was the last time the Raiders won the Super Bowl against the Redskins in '83. Or was it 84? I think it was the 83 season, but it was played in 84. Anyways, and the Raiders won. Marcus Allen, Todd Christensen, Jim Plunkett, like Howie Long. Awesome team. Loved that. And then I kind of continued to be a fan, but the older I've gotten, the less of an NFL fan I've become. Yeah. Like, there was a time when I was way into fantasy football, which should surprise nobody who's a D&D aficionado, and I loved fantasy football, and like we had an office team.
It was fun.
And I was pretty good. Like, I would like place almost every year. I was way into it, and then I would watch a lot of NFL games because I had players right on the team. But yeah, Raiders are a hard team to be a fan of, especially if you don't live where they're playing. Now, the irony is they've moved to Vegas, so they're actually kind of like the closest team to where we are in Salt Lake, so it would make perfect sense. I could get to a game like easier than anywhere else, even Denver.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a long-winded answer to a short question, and basically I'm not particularly excited about the NFL draft because I really don't pay attention to the NFL anymore. I'm huge college football. University of Utah, go Utes. I watch every game and go to several, but yeah, don't really follow the NFL anymore. You are different though.
I don't know how we can really be friends because I'm a Broncos fan.
Yes,
like by all
and
rights,
those
we
two
should hate each other.
Yes, no,
but,
that's a big rivalry.
I'm kind of the older I get, the less I care. And when your team is such a letdown after a year,
yeah, that's you
get jaded and you just don't want to watch it anymore. But I'm still a fan.
Here's what's funny is like, so lately I've become a Chiefs fan, and before you all get mad at me for being a bandwagoner, I know I was born in Kansas City, well, just outside of Kansas City in Independence, and I've been a Royals fan my whole life, and you guys have seen me. I've got that Royals shirt that I wear on video sometimes, and so by like, if there's any one team I should be a fan of, it should be the Chiefs, right? Because I was born there.
It's your birthright.
But then I had that like core memory of like the Raiders winning the Super Bowl, right? So like that was the team I followed. It's been a real easy transition to be like, you know what? Screw it. I was born in Kansas City. I'm a Chiefs fan.
Patrick Mahomes is the greatest.
And Alex Smith, who played for the Utes,
right?
Was a big part of their kind of rebuilding phase. Anyways,
he carried them for years.
He did, and both my high school and my college alma mater, their colors are red, and the mascot, I'm almost ashamed to say, was a Native American, like both for my high school and for my college, or maybe a tribe of Native Americans, if you want to say that about the Utes. But anyways, the point is, the Chiefs, it was just like, this is like such a natural fit for me. Like, I should be a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, the Raiders is like the left field turn. Then.
Yeah, no. So the last few years, like, I cheer for the Chiefs, but really I'm a poser because I pretty much just watch them, like, if the game happens to be on and I see some of it, and or when they're winning the Super Bowl.
Barbalboa, I'm in Canada, so I wasn't into a team, but I'm a huge Giants fan, thanks to watching Little Giants as a kid. Great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
As a fellow Utahn, are you a Jazz fan? This is from Razor's Edge 7, and if so, what are your thoughts on how the rookies did this season?
So, yes, for years, well, up until last season, I could probably count on two hands the number of Jazz games I'd missed over like a decade. Like, I was like a every game watcher of the Jazz, and I would go to a few games a year. Love them ever since. Yeah, I mean, of course, the glory days of Malone and Stockton. The last year, they became a little hard to watch, and this year as well. Like, they do really well up into the trade deadline, and then Danny Ainge, he's one of the owners or kind of the general manager. I don't remember what his official title is. Anyways, the guy in charge of trying to help us win a championship is like, okay, we're winning too many games. Like, blow up the team, and then we just lose the rest of the season. Which I get why he does it, but yeah, it's a little tough to be an every game fan, and life has just gotten a little busier, and I've decided to try to prioritize my family a little bit more than playing D&D every week and watching every single Jazz game, you know what I mean? So that's been part of it. But anyways, yeah, the rookies have been great. I mean, Keontae especially, I think, and sorry for those that don't follow the NBA are probably bored here, but no, I'm excited about their prospects, and we'll see. I love Lowry. I love all the guys. They play with a lot of heart, and they've got a lot of hustle and scrap, but maybe not quite enough talent to do much until we make some more changes.
So kind of keeping on the sports thing, just for a little longer, bear with me. So Utah got an NHL team. We have a hockey team.
That was the biggest news. So for those who don't know, Utah forever, since the 70s, has had one major league team, right, of any kind. NBA only. There's no NFL team here. There's no Major League Baseball team. There's no NHL team here. Well, I should say Major League Soccer, and that is gaining. Sure. And we actually won. We actually won it all early on in the team's career. MLS football, for those of you who live anywhere else in the world, that makes more sense.
Everyone knows the MLS is kind of not really a pro league.
Yeah, exactly.
It is, but it isn't. It's a transition league.
No.
Or
where
retired players.
Yeah, exactly. Where all the stars go to make tons of money and just retire, basically.
Yeah.
Still, yeah, the Real Salt Lake did win a championship early in their career, and that was the first major sporting championship that we ever really had. Because the BYU championship back in the 80s doesn't count. It was pre-BCS, pre-playoff. It was all just votes. Anyways, Yeah. So we're excited about the NHL.
Yeah, I'm not even really a hockey fan.
I think I'm gonna be.
But yeah, like Utah is so starved for like a sports team,
and they have rabid fan bases that are very loyal.
Because look at the Jazz. What have they done in years? And yet every game is sold out.
Yeah.
Everyone is passionate. Yep. And I think there was something like 20,000 deposits for season tickets for the hockey team.
Yeah,
like, that's crazy.
My brother went to there was an event last night, like introducing the welcome team. And he went and he said it was a lot of fun. And I actually played hockey when I was younger.
Really?
Because I lived in Alaska for a few years. And like, what else are you going to do in Alaska? there's the one sport that everybody plays is hockey. I was never very good, but I enjoyed it. I'm excited about NHL Coyotes.
We'll see, because I think they said they're going to do like a poll on the name.
Oh, and change it maybe?
The Blizzard, the Yetis.
They got to do something with two Z's.
The Storm, I can't remember, but we'll see. So, anyways, all right, back to
no more sports.
Let's see here. Okay, with the new rules making monks better, are there any true monk builds you're looking forward to?
Yeah. I think a straight class mercy monk is going to be pretty strong, or at least like viable, like pretty good. I think mercy's still probably the best subclass, just if you're just doing monk. And Chris, Treant Monk, for those of you who watched us play our little playtest one-shot with Insight Check and Pack Tactics, Chris did a Mercy Monk, right? He did. I know he went back and forth.
Monks.
I think he ended up. I think he settled on Mercy, and it's good. It's very good. But I still think the one that I'm most excited about is the one that I'm playing in our own table game, our own home game, because I'm playing a UA open hand monk, and it's actually the same one that I played for that one shot. Eventually I'm going to get some druid levels, and then conjure animals is going to go from my most hated spell in the game to my most oft used spell in the game. I think. For videos, people are going to be like, conjure animals again.
Oh, it's the new spike growth.
Or Cloud of Daggers, or Hexblade Warlock. I love it because it moves with you. You can move it when you move. If they change that before the player's handbook comes out, I'm going to be so sad. Ooh. Because that's the worst thing, the hardest thing about all of those, like, they take damage when they move into the area and at the start of their turn. Spells, Moonbeam, Cloud of Daggers, etc. Spirit Guardians is you plop it down and now you got to be able to get somebody in there, and that's not always easy unless maybe you're grappling them. But when you can move it as you move and then push them, it's just going to be awesome. Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, I think we got to go to the Discord.
Yeah, we had some
Discord questions,
some backlog.
All right, so from Corel, how different do you expect Warlock builds to be after the new Player's Handbook?
I don't know that I expect them to be super different. Now, to be fair, I haven't followed every playtest super religiously. I'm getting most of my information from Chris. From Treant Monk. I just watch his videos. And he does a great analysis, right? Yeah. But Warlock hasn't gotten a lot of tweaks for quite some time, if I'm not mistaken. And I kind of remember feeling like, okay. At first there were going to be a ton of changes, and then they kept, reeling them back. So, yeah, I don't know. The biggest thing, what I can see is, if I'm not mistaken, there's a little more flexibility on, your primary stat now. Or did they change that? Oh, dang it. Now I'm not remembering.
Where's Chris in the chat?
Because if that were still the case, then that could be really cool. And Hexblade becomes a lot less important, because just taking Pact of the Blade is going to let you use your charisma for an attack stat. So maybe, I guess what I would say is, I can see a lot more Hexblade dips in my future. Or sorry, I can see a lot more Warlock dips in my future that aren't Hexblade.
Yeah.
As far as like straight Warlock or mostly Warlock builds, it doesn't feel to me like there's going to be massive changes, but maybe I'm wrong. And maybe, is there anything in the comments that's correcting something?
No, it's all back to charisma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it there. For now, just packs are just invocations.
Yeah. That's right. But you're getting more of them, aren't you? The invocations. Yeah, I think you get more of them, and there's no more pact boon, which I think is fine because it felt like
it was like a separate piece that just tried to get shoved in there.
And you don't always necessarily need a pact, right? Depending on your build, it's like, I guess I'll take Pact of the Chain because free familiar, sure. But it wasn't super important to the build, so I like that improved like diversity, versatility.
Yeah. Hey guys, first time on here, tuning in from Australia. Hey!
Good day.
Big fan and have created characters based on Stealth Bomber and Assassin's Creed for my daughter. Will you be making updates to these for 5.5? We kind of talked about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I probably will be updating builds. But, Stealth Bomber and what was the other one?
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed, I can see happening almost for sure. Stealth Bomber is like one of my least viewed videos. Well, I take that back. I was thinking Dive Bomber. That's one of my least viewed videos. Stealth Bomber was the assassin using what's it called? Pew pew pew. Scorching Ray. Scorching Ray. Yeah, I can see updates to those for sure. I don't know if like right out the gate because they're pretty recent. I think I'll probably focus on maybe the older ones. Anything that's like over a year and a half, 2 years old and has like over 100,000 views is probably where I'll start. Focusing on any like redos. But yeah.
All right, over in Discord, Java Jedi says, Kobold Press just announced that Tome of Beasts, probably their best-selling book ever, is now available on D&D Beyond. Does this surprise you? Do you think it's good for the 5e ecosystem that more third-party content is available on D&D Beyond?
Does it surprise me? Yes. Do I think it's good for the ecosystem? Yes. Only because Kobold Press, it seemed like they were trying to be like, okay, like after the OGL fiasco, right?
Yeah,
they were kind of like, you know what? We're going to do it right. And so, hey, like to see them playing nice together, like I'm okay with that. In case you guys hadn't figured this out about me, I don't tend to have a lot of rancor or hold a lot of grudges. And I tend to be an apologist for things that I like and that I'm a fan of and try to like give everybody the benefit of the doubt, which probably doesn't make for great YouTube viewership because I don't stir the pot very much. But yeah, like when I was in Toronto last fall and hanging out with Monty and Kelly, the Dungeon Dudes, they actually told me, I don't know if I shared this with you guys, they told me then, it was like October, dude, we just like made a deal with D&D Beyond, and the Drakenheim stuff is going to be on there. I was like, that is the awesomest thing ever. Like, I'm so excited for you guys. And they were so stoked. Yeah. Like, that was like game changer for them. And yeah, like I love that they're bringing other stuff in. Absolutely. Because I think it's good for the third party creators. I mean, it's obvious, like, having spoken directly to some third-party creators that were just, coming on to D&D Beyond, they were nothing but excited and happy. I think you're unplugged. I don't know if that's a problem.
I think we're okay.
How much battery life you got?
If it starts getting alarmingly low,
you can just pull mine and plug it in, because mine will be fine. I'm at 100%.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Let's make sure that didn't stop.
Let's swing back over.
Stop streaming.
No, we're still alive. Oh no!
Did it kill it?
I think it. Oh no, we're back. Are we alive?
Okay, that was a bad idea.
Maybe next time I just won't do that.
Let's see. Oh yeah, so having spoken directly with some third-party content creators that were getting on to D&D Beyond, like it was great for them. And so anything that's good for third-party content creators, I'm a fan of. And if it means that, more third-party content creators can have success and maybe grow, and more people are like, ooh, hey, this is a more viable like career path for me now if this is an option, et cetera, yeah, I think it's good. The hard thing about it is that it's still difficult to use that stuff in build videos that I do for my channel, just because it's still unofficial content, right. And I think the majority of tables like still can't use it, you know, in their campaign, and that's problematic for me to do a video on it, because inevitably the views are going to be a lot lower, and I'm not going to make as much revenue, and the channel growth is going to stagnate. Like, I've done 2 Blood Hunter builds to date, and for sure the Critical Role stuff is like the most widely accepted third-party content that's unofficial material, and a lot of people can use it at their tables. Still, those Blood Hunter videos like are like way under average as far as like viewership goes and new subscribers that they've brought in, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's really hard for me to justify doing third-party content for that reason, just because it's like I gotta worry about finances. Which sucks.
Makes sense.
But maybe one day I won't care, and then I'll just be like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna do a Drakenheim build. I'm gonna do a Kobold Press stuff. I'm gonna do Hit Point Press stuff. Whatever else is on there.
All right. Over in Discord, we've got Bestus the Great. Hey, Colby, longtime watcher and new member.
Hey.
Wanted to reach out because I have a situation in my home game where I've decided to use the Mind Over Matter build. I'm having so much fun with it, but I have a situation where in my party there's another Psy Warrior and another Battlesmith. So basically, I'm planning on staying Artificer until at least level 10 to get Elven Accuracy. I was just wondering if you had any recommendations on maybe an alternative direction to go to make my character feel more unique. Wanted to get your input on the situation. Hope all is well. Thanks for all you do.
That's tough, because, yeah, for those who don't remember, that build was basically like, can we do an intelligence-based fighter, right? 3 levels of Artificer, to do Battlesmith so that you can attack with your intelligence, and then play a Psy Warrior who get lots of nice benefits from having a good intelligence score. And it was kind of like a cool way to be like a sad but intelligence sad fighter. And it was fun, and it was pretty effective. But yeah, if somebody's going straight Psy Warrior and somebody's going straight Battlesmith, that's pretty redundant. I mean, you might be a better Psy Warrior than the other Psy Warrior, although he'll be 3 levels ahead of you, so it depends on the level. And you're gonna and you're definitely gonna do more damage, I would think, anyways, than the Battlesmith. So it's not like you can't do it, but having one pure class and another pure class together almost negates the need for like a hybrid of the two, for sure. I mean, I don't know. If it were me, I'd probably just try and kill off the character. I'd talk to my DM and be like, "Hey, like, can we find an exit for this for this guy, or like, would you let me reroll?" Now that might be too much for you to stomach. You might be like, "No, I'm really attached to this character or whatever," and I get that. But maybe a reroll would make it a little more viable, and then you could do something that's like adjacent, where it would still kind of make sense. You can still be kind of a gishy, warrior type. I mean, there's a Blade Singer.
Yep.
They're an intelligence-based weapon user. You know what I mean?
That's called out in the comments.
That has spells, yeah. And the only problem is you're going to go Blade Singer and be like, I can never play anything else again in D&D because it's just so good. That's not true.
I think the way that we've played D&D is, especially when we have a session 0, we can talk about what are you trying to do with your character.
That would have helped.
Yeah. And we kind of make sure, and there's no rule that says you have to do this, but it's a lot more fun, I think, when you can sit down and kind of build a party that covers all your bases.
Yes,
and you're really
find ways to synergize. Yeah. And I used to get frustrated sometimes with our friend Scott, who we would play with, and I love Scott, and he's awesome, and we just kind of had a little bit different philosophy sometimes when it came to how to play and how to build your characters. And, I would always be like, in any session 0, I'd be like, what's everybody else playing? Because I want to be able to, fill a gap.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's almost like, I don't even care what you guys do, just let me know where to plug in.
I'm like, because I've got 100 and whatever, characters that I would love to play. So, and he would always just be like, I'm not going to tell you. because that's going to influence what you play. Like, you should just play what you want. Like, play what you want to play, and we'll adapt, you know? And I'm like, what I want to play is a character that fills a niche that's not really very well covered by the rest of the party yet. So, and, you know, we'd have these impasses a little bit. So, yeah, I for sure would, if it were me, I would try and re-roll it. As far as trying to stick with the same character and make them unique, I mean, I guess you could... The problem is you're like intelligence-based now, so it's hard to like maybe take some cleric levels or druid levels or something to try and bring some more support, because now you're way too mad and you probably don't have the wisdom score to do it, or at least to be effective. Intelligence has kind of pigeonholed you into like wizard or artificer a little bit. So I mean, there's wizard stuff you could do and try and like maybe bring more control to the party, but the problem is then you're looking at 5 levels of wizard to get up to, you know, hypnotic pattern or fear. Yeah. I mean, 3-level wizard dip will get you web. That's good, but I don't know. Yeah, I'd probably re-roll it.
Yeah.
If I could, or kill him and just start over. But that's me.
In the chat, Walpole, that build was amazing. Played as a professor in Victorian London with that build.
Oh, that
absolutely
would be cool.
On theme and did insane in combat.
Nice. Oh, it's fun. I love to hear that kind of stuff. By the way, you guys, it just warms my heart a little bit. I just get a little teary-eyed. Oh,
Razor's Edge.
People are giving my children love. That's what it feels like.
Razor Edge 7 says, playing my first D&D game, and I'm having too much fun with the Pally Blade Singer. So I can confirm they're a ton of fun.
Are you playing a turtle? That's my one thing. Like, I'm lame. I'm so lame. Like, I make these builds, and I'm like, okay, you got to go bugbear, or you got to go turtle.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know if I could do it in game. I just playing Baldur's Gate 3. When I did my Dirge run, my Dark Urge run, I played as a Dragonborn, and that was hard. And that's so stupid. I know.
Where are the ears?
I'm a total, like, I don't know if that makes me racist or what. Like, or speciesist. But I don't want to play a furry. Oh, I'm sorry. And even, but like I've played Dragonborns in game.
Sure,
I've played
Kitsune,
Custom Lineage, right? And but maybe only those two. I think everything else that I've played has been like an elf or a human. So vanilla.
He says, yes, I went with a turtle named Raphael, which
nice.
is nice call.
There you
to
go.
Turtles.
Yeah, I'm sure I'd be fine. I would just have to like force myself to do it, and then I'd be like, you know what, this is awesome, and it brings like some great opportunity for like role play. And
you know who does it extremely well at our table is both Preston and Corey when we've played with them. They just true. Like are goblins, and they just are a goblin. And you're like,
I did a goblin in our Pathfinder game, and it was very uncomfortable. I guess I just don't like getting out of my comfort zone.
It's like going on your
maybe I don't have enough like faith in my like role play chops. You know what I mean? And like I have this like self-doubt that I'm like, I need to play something that's like close enough to like me that I can just go a little bit this way and like be okay, instead of like, okay, how do I think like a turtle here? You know what I mean? Or whatever. I don't know.
I think there's probably something to that. I'm thinking back on my characters. I think the like most extreme I've gone is a Dragonborn, and that's not extreme at all. That's pretty like standard. Interesting. Okay. Ob Klutzy, nice name from Discord. Are there any builds you believe you could improve, or simply wish you could redo, or is it too much fun to just make new builds?
Yes. Yes. You know, a lot of my builds will have an errata, right? Like I'll have got something wrong, and then it's like I've got to rework the numbers. It's rare that it's like, oh, this really, like, this takes it from like pretty good to pretty crappy. You know what I mean? Like it's that bad. 2 exceptions, I think. My first ever Swashbuckler, where I was, if I remember, what did I do wrong there? I tried to cast Booming Blade with my bonus action, or I was like making attacks with my action and then trying to Booming Blade with my bonus action. Was that what I was doing? Anyways, whatever I was doing, I screwed it up, and I kind of had to. Actually, that was the only time I've ever released a video afterwards. Like, I did this wrong, and like I apologize. And so
Please
the
don't
solution
leave.
is to do something else. And then Tasha's Cauldron of Everything came out with the updated Ranger Beastmaster stuff,
Oh, right.
and you could use a bonus action for your Beastmaster. And so I was like, okay, new Swashbuckler, like everything that I said, but then just take 3 levels of Ranger, go Beastmaster, and that's what you're using. That's how you're weaponizing your bonus action. And then it was fine. The one build, like if I have like looking back over my library of videos, if I have like my greatest regret video, and I'm sure you guys, some of you anyways who have been around for a while, can probably guess that. What do you think it is? Before I say, I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're on a delay, so
Wait a second.
I don't know. Anyways, it's the grappler. It was a monk. It was oh geez. If you've watched my ranking my sustained damage builds videos over the last couple of years, you know this. But it was a build that was supposed to be a grappler. They were a Way of the Astral Self monk and multi-classed a ton. And on paper it looked great, but the reality is once you get it outside of the lab, more than any other build I've done, because you could say this about a lot of my builds, but more than any other build I've done, once you got that thing outside of the lab, it would not work as advertised. Especially because of the Spore Druid stuff. I was using Unearthed Arcana Spore Druid, and I shouldn't have been, because back then they didn't lose the extra damage when their temporary hit points went away. Anyways, and it was just like, I felt guilty about it. Like, I got all these comments like, this would not work. This is a piece of crap. And I was like, yeah, like, you're right. This really wouldn't work. And I need to change it. So one day I might take another stab at it. Although I kind of have already with, I think it was it the Cosmic Controller that was like a monk cleric, I think, and that was like a grapple focused build, was kind of like my Grappler Monk 2.0, because it was also an Astral Self. Anyways, as far as like other than that, I have too much fun building new characters, I think. Other than, when the new stuff comes out, like we've already talked about, when the new Player's Handbook comes out, then I'm for sure interested, because now we've got new rules, so how would I change it, right? But just taking existing builds and going back and redoing them, I don't have a ton of interest in that. Not because I think they're perfect or that I couldn't improve upon them, but I don't know. I think any improvements I made would be so slight,
right,
pre the new rules anyways, that it would just be like, you're just like, you're creating filler content, you're out of ideas, you know what I mean?
All right, Shane in the chat, thanks for the bucks.
Thanks, Shane.
Going Dampier Soul Knife to 11 to be a real Silas from Critical Role, but straight rogue lacks damage scaling.
Yeah.
Would riposte quick toss from Battle Master work for extra?
Sneak attack.
Sneak attack.
Yeah, for sure. I think Rogue Battle Master is a great combo, because they have so many nice little ways to get reaction attacks, right? Between Repost and Brace, and especially, Brace is especially good on a Swashbuckler, I think, because you can make the attack, step away, not take an opportunity attack, right? And then hopefully they're stepping up to attack you. But Soul Knife, still, Riposte is going to help you get those. I would say though that you're going to want 5 levels of Battle Master, right? Because extra attack at the end of the day, that's the great tragedy of the rogue, right? Like, 5 levels in rogue is going to get you 3d6 in sneak attack damage, right? Extra attack, 5 levels in a pure martial that gets extra attack is going to be worth more than 3d6. Again, that's just damage, right? And it depends on what weapon you're using, and it depends on blah, 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 blah. But you can very easily make that worth more than 3d6. There's other things that you get from rogue, I know. It's not just about damage. But yeah. So if I were going to take 3 levels of fighter, I'd be like, I just got to take 2 more. But then the problem is you're like, 1 more is going to get me another feat. or ability score increase, so I'll take 6. And then maybe you stop. But then 2 more, you get another feat or ability score. Anyways, it's tough. That's always the challenge with multiclassing, right? It's a slippery slope.
Matt Marshall says, playing a rogue now and got Sentinel. Gives a lot of reaction.
Yeah, Sentinel's good too. It's a couple Sentinel with riposte, and you're going to be getting. I would think you'd be getting an opportunity attack or a reaction attack, anyways, 50% of the time, which is a ton, right, for a rogue, no question, because that's a lot of extra sneak attack.
All right, back over to the Discord. It's kind of like a 3-part question. So from Fadar, what do you think of the change to start adding feats to backgrounds in 1D&D? We'll just start there. Will there be a go-to background feat for your builds? That's part 1.
Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. In case that wasn't clear. Because, for a couple of reasons. One, a lot of tables do this anyway, right? Everybody gets a free feat. Now they're just standardizing it. And making it so that the most powerful feats aren't available.
Yeah, smart move.
And so what that means is, I'm not taking custom lineage or variant human all the time. Right? And so, yeah, I really like that. And it's just fun to, be able to, make the character your own a little bit even more just right at level 1, right? Be able to customize them and kind of make them your own. As far as the go-to feat, it'll depend on the build, and all of the, I don't have them all memorized, and I know that some are going to change, and they're probably going to add some, so that's hard to say. I wouldn't be surprised if there were a handful that were better than the rest. Alert is like a top-tier choice for sure, and being able to switch around, who goes when in initiative is awesome. I really like the Tavern Brawler feat. It's not as good as it is in BG3. Take a drink. Thank goodness, because it's overpowered in Baldur's Gate 3, I think. But it's still good. It's still way better. And that's fun. So for anybody who's, potentially, especially if you're planning on making any unarmed strikes, that's a really good one. There was another one, too, that I felt like was a real standout, but now it has escaped my mind. So I can't think of what it is. So anyways, yeah, I do like it. I do think that it seems obvious to me anyways that the most powerful feats that you can't get until level 4 and going forward are all half feats, seems to be, right? And so any of those more powerful feats, even if they don't show up in the player's handbook, but maybe we got them from a Fizzbands or something like that, I feel like I'm gonna assume that you can't take that at level 1 with a background, and that might mean that some of those Strixhaven backgrounds and Dragonlance backgrounds and Big B's giant stuff backgrounds aren't going to work. Your laptop just died.
It was
you're unplugged.
It was at half, and then just all of a sudden was at nothing.
Oh,
so that's fun.
You gotta love that.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt, for your accurate battery thing.
So yeah, I love that people are getting new feats. I think there will probably be standout ones. I'm not sure what they are going to be quite yet, other than the 2 that I've mentioned. There's probably others, and maybe people are commenting what they think the strongest options are going to be.
What do you think about Centaurs getting twice as many feats? And then everybody went, boo, bad joke. That was the last I saw before I died.
Yeah, I was like...
You're like, what?
I was like, they do? That's going to be the new best option then. Humans are still going to be good, because they are going to get 2 feats, but at least... they're just those available at level 1 feats, right? So they're not necessarily going to be a huge, you got to just be human all the time. But I think there'll be plenty of builds where it's if nothing else is screaming, oh, you got to take this species because whatever reason, I think I'll probably find myself using human more than I want to. I hope that's not the case. But we'll see.
Nothing wrong with just a plain old human.
Yeah, I like myself.
You know, they're fun. All right. Sorry, I was trying to boot everything back up. We'll just do another Discord question while we're... Oh, we'll do the second part.
Yeah, part 2.
So the second part of this was, have you ever done a Divine Soul Sorcerer? Which I think the answer is yes.
I think it's my most used Sorcerer subclass. Oh, by the way, sorry, quick update. I've been working on my table of contents for months now, I think. Weeks. I'm chipping away at it slowly but surely. But I'm getting close. I'm up to build 145.
And you just went right into the bonus question to this.
Okay.
How's that database?
Yeah, it's coming. Now, that said, most of my Divine Soul Sorcerer uses have been dips, if I'm not mistaken. One exception I can think of offhand was my very first Warlock build. It was build number 6, I think. It was basically trying to get the most out of Eldritch Blast, but we were actually mostly Sorcerer so that we could, get more sorcery points, quicken spell, and upcast like spiritual weapon, which we were using for our bonus action. So yeah, that was my Divine Soul Warlock, but I've used them a lot of times otherwise, and hopefully sometime in the next week or two I'll have that database out and I'll make a big announcement and I'll start linking to it in all of the videos so people can actually go in and just type like Control F like Psy Warrior or whatever and just pull up the 3 builds or 5 builds or whatever that have used Psy Warrior. And
is that your most asked question in YouTube comments? Like,
no,
where's the blah 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 build that they can clearly just go search it out, right?
Yes. Okay, maybe yes. Like the most common question is, hey, have you ever done a blank?
Right.
Now that's different every time, right? But yeah, I get a lot of those.
You always assume the answer is yes. There's 166 builds. Chances are yes.
It's either yes or it's on the to-do list. For sure, but yeah.
Okay, Arch Mike says, if you had to make Jedi, say, because one of your Platinum members won't shut up about it until you do, cough, cough, how would you go about it? Psionic Warrior plus Monk, or is there a better combo?
Yeah, that's a good question. Did I reply to this in the Discord? Because I remember reading this. Whether I did or not, for me, it's got to be, I guess it depends on, what makes a Jedi. Using the Force. Oh, yeah. For sure.
First and foremost, yeah.
And so to me, that says, yeah, I think Psy Warrior's a pretty good option. I think, but you want, maybe a telekinetic feat. Mm-hmm. You want some ability to, move enemies, right? And or yourself. And or do a little, mind control, mind trick stuff. Or is being a Jedi having a lightsaber? Is that the most important aspect? Or is that a super important aspect of... And so to me, it's... But then the monk maybe most closely captures, the aesthetic and, the philosophy and the feel. So to me, it's like a Bladesinger monk. I think. And I've done a Bladesinger monk build. They were actually mostly monk, and it was one of the only builds I've ever done that went all the way to level 20 because I played it at level 20 in a one-shot. And nice. So I just set it with Chris and the Dungeon Dudes. And that's on the channel, by the way. You can find it. But yeah, I kind of feel like Bladesinger monk. Or... Because, I feel like Shadowblade is the closest we get to a lightsaber in the game. Well, other than, a flame tongue... Not flame tongue. What's the magic weapon that's just a hilt? And, the Sun Sword. Yeah. Or you get, a better version of it in Strahd. Anyways, yeah, if you can get one of those, then sure. Otherwise, I feel like, yeah, you need a Shadowblade.
Yeah.
So.
Throbbing members, Star Wars 5e is really good. I don't think we played Star Wars 5e. We played the, other Star Wars.
Well, I don't know what Star Wars 5e is. It was Star Wars...
Force and Destiny or something like
that? That was one of the books.
I can't recall.
I didn't know, I have never heard of Star Wars 5e. Is that like a third party, like somebody's put out a book that like has Star Wars stuff that's compatible with 5e rules, or is this like a different like Star Wars TTRPG that I'm not familiar with? The Star Wars that we played, as far as I knew, was like the most current Star Wars TTRPG.
So it's a fan book, they're saying.
A fan book?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I wouldn't know. That said, the Star Wars TTRPG that we did play, and we just kind of did, it was like a 2-month.
Yeah, it was.
We played like 6, 7 sessions. It was fun.
It would never supplant D&D. Like, it just doesn't quite have the... I don't know. It's just missing the secret sauce, you know?
Yeah.
It was really fun, and I really like you could switch initiative with people.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
And having, like, the points that you could be like, oh, I'm going to use one of my light points to, like, benefit me in some way.
Kind of like a luck system.
I played a Jedi. I basically played, like, a charismatic Jedi that was supposed to be, like, a dual wielder and, like, flashy. And I played a Twi'lek.
Ooh, that's right.
Which is basically Star Wars version of elves, let's be honest. And it was fun, but yeah, I was like ready to go back to D&D, I think. And maybe it's just because I tend to be more of a fantasy fan than I am a sci-fi.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Star Wars, but yeah, it was good, not great, is maybe what I would say.
All right. Finn's son over on Discord, have you ever tried D&D 3.5? If you have, what are your thoughts? I know it's a tiresome system both for players and DMs, but I like the endless options to customize and build a unique character.
The closest I ever got to playing D&D 3.5 was playing Pathfinder. So no, I actually haven't. And a lot of you guys know this. I didn't play 2, 3, or 4 editions. Right, I went straight from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons to 5th edition, and with a big 20-year gap in between. So yeah, I don't. I can't really comment because actually what I played was Pathfinder 2E. I never played Pathfinder 1, and Pathfinder 1 was very akin to D&D 3.5. I know, but I never played that. So yeah, my understanding is that it was like a lot crunchier. And almost overbearingly so for some people, though I tend to favor more crunchiness over less. I've played around and investigated a little bit, like some more rules light systems, and we kind of talked about this at lunch. Yeah. It's not necessarily my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Though who knows? Maybe if I gave him more of a chance, I might like him more.
Or maybe if someone like sponsored a video or something.
Sure. Yeah, I'm trying. By the way, I have my agent reach out to Brandon Sanderson's people, whoever those are. I don't know, to see if I could do. I'm like, get me a copy of your. Of the TTR, the Stormlight TTRPG that's supposed to be going to Kickstarter this fall, I think. Like, get me an advanced copy of it, and I'll do like a video on it that's like, you know, learning this system as a D&D vet, like I did with Pathfinder. And they are unresponsive, unfortunately.
I mean, he's a busy guy. He's probably writing another secret project.
Well, I think my agent actually reached out to. The name eludes me. The company that's making the TTRPG. I think he's like trying to reach out to them. No, it's like Brothers Game something. Anyways, yeah, no response yet. That would be sweet, but
we'll see.
We'll see.
Okay. Oh man, we made it to the end of the Discord questions, which is like a rare thing. Like, we're doing good on time. The one with the gun. Do you have any good tips for making a martial character feel more unique / less bland? Doing tons of damage is fun, but sometimes it can feel a little repetitive compared to the versatility of spellcasters who can do zany, wacky stuff every 6 seconds.
Yes. Yeah, that can be a challenge. I think for me, the way that I tend to like diversify my I just hit stuff characters is kind of both with roleplay. So give them a really like out there personality, You know what I mean? Or somebody who's like super funny, silly, super angry, super something, so that you can, maybe have like like taglines that you're shouting out when you go into battle, like whatever, just to that might change things up, give some diversity, so that you've got kind of more about your character. You know what I mean? That's like exciting and or dynamic outside of what you're doing in combat, which is just I attack. But also for me, I think something that helps make those types of characters more fun in combat is to try and be creative and imaginative in like how I'm attacking. Yeah. So like mechanically it's the same. I'm rolling the dice, I hit, I miss. But like, and that's easier on a monk than anything, because I'm sweeping the leg, I'm jumping and doing roundhouse kicks, I'm, taking the head to the knee, I'm giving him elbows, like you can get kind of descriptive and have fun with kind of the way that you're actually engaging in combat. And you could do the same thing with weapons. I mean, you might be giving him a nick on his arm or hamstringing him, or, you know what I mean, like, get a little more creative. I always got frustrated with ranged characters because that felt like I had no options. It's like, I shoot him. Like, I can't, I shoot him in the eye. I shoot him in the leg. I shoot him in the arm.
Yeah, and there's not even really like a mechanic for that either. It's just like...
Yeah, no, it's just what you're imagining. It's not, you're not actually like, oh, I'm going to try and disable his weapon hand so that he drops his weapon or anything like that.
Go read your favorite battle scene from your favorite fantasy book and just kind of highlight a couple like, ooh, that was really cool, man, you work that in, or like whatever. And just kind of borrow, just tweak it, make it your own, and then bring that to the table. Yeah. And it'll feel a lot better.
Option number 2 is multi-class into a spellcaster. or like take a subclass that gives you more fun, flavorful options. That's why I love in fighters, I love Psy Warriors and, Rune Knights and Eldritch Knights to a lesser extent, because it's like, oh, like I have like other cool toys to play with once in a while, it's like, oh, I've got these D6, or even Battle Masters, right? Yep. I've got these other dice that I can do once in a while. I can do something cool. I can jump over here. I can absorb some damage. I can do a little extra damage. I can, give my companion, an extra whatever. I can maybe cast a spell or shackle that enemy in, fiery chains, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would look to those subclasses. It might be too late for your character at this point, but that can just kind of help you just mix it up a little bit once in a while with like some more options. And hey, if you're a strength-based character, like start grappling, and get with your friends and be like, hey, somebody start throwing down like a cloud of daggers or a moonbeam or spike growth or something, and like, I'm going to start grappling people and dragging them in and doing damage that way and controlling them. Like, that'll mix it up and be fun. So,
oh, yeah. The grapple, trip attack combo, so effective. And it makes everybody in combat feel really cool, getting advantage, and you just go in there and just blow it up.
Unless you're a ranged character, and then you have disadvantage and you're mad. But we don't tend to have a lot of ranged characters in games.
I tried playing one, and... the option they give you is Arcane Archer. That's the one fighter. That has a little bit of fun. Yeah. It's...
I mean, it's no Sun Soul monk,
just...
at least, right? Arcane Archer can be good, but you just have to build for it. You gotta you gotta find ways to get some forced movement.
Elven accuracy, you gotta...
And get them wrapped up in your vines and then push them so that they take in the extra damage and stuff like that.
Shoving arrow. Yeah. There's ways, but well, that's time. We're actually 3 minutes over.
Okay. So, did we have any follow up in Discord that needs to be addressed?
Nothing in Discord.
Or sorry, not Discord.
Take a look at the
chat. I meant the chat.
That's where backgrounds come into play. Yeah, that's exactly right. Lean on your backgrounds. Try and make some diversity there. I've always wished D&D could have stuff like that, maiming, targeting.
Called shots. I think people homebrew stuff. It's tough to make it work mechanically. I appreciate that at the very least with weapon specializations, they're coming out with you can make them bleed, you can knock them prone. But there's no I'm going to try to, hit him in the kneecap and see if I can, cripple him that way. But flavor's free. So you could always say, look, I've got a thing that lets me knock them prone. For me, that means I'm going to hit him in the kneecap, you know what I mean, or whatever. Disarming. Is there a disarm? I guess there's just, like, command... what's the spell?
You can command them to drop their weapon.
Is it command? It's not command. It's... whatever it is. Yeah, you can tell... one-word command, right? Flee, grovel, drop. But yeah, as far as, like, targeting a specific body part to have, like, a specific effect... You know, but in my experience, a lot of DMs will work with you on that and be like, I mean, sure, it's going to increase their armor class by 3 or 5 or whatever, but if you hit, then I'll let them make a saving throw and see if whatever you're trying to do actually happens. That can be tough, though, because it can really slow down combat, too, which is why I would always get annoyed when Casey... I feel
Disarming attack.
There you go. There you go. Thank you. I feel like Casey... would always try to do that. When we were first starting 5e, she would always be like, I'm going to try and hit him in the neck. And Corey would be like, I mean,
sure,
you can roll to hit, but like, there's not going to be any specific...
Yeah, when you're new especially, because you're just like, it's such a visual game, like in your head, and you're trying to imagine like this really cool... So, I can see why, one, there's a demand for it, and two, so many players, especially when they're new, try and say, like, oh, I want to like stab him in the eyeball or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean...
Let's go for it.
You stabbed him, but you like if you're looking for like an insta-kill because you got him in the eye, that didn't happen. Yeah. Or you didn't blind him, unless you have some sort of thing that lets you blind them, which is a very specific thing in the game, you know. Anyways.
Oh, well, thanks for hanging out.
It's always my favorite day of the month, hanging out with you guys. So thank you. Thank you for all of your support. You guys are the best. And thanks, Dylan, for always doing this with me. And
I love hanging out with you.
And making it fun.
I like to find excuses to just get to hang out, you know?
Yeah.
So, hey, if that means we got to sit in front of a microphone and just talk random for a while, then I'm all game.
It's good times. Sorry for the technical difficulties. But yeah, you guys are awesome, and we'll see you online. Have a good one.
See ya.
Stop streaming.